What's up, folks? So recently I bought a condo here in Las Vegas in the Summerlin area, and I just wanted to share some of my experiences. This whole thing started out, I wanted to buy an investment property, 700,000, somewhere close to Summerlin. And so it turns out this was in November of last year. November of 2020, and I qualified for an FHA loan, 2.25%. That was the rate, 0 points, 30 years. I thought that was a great rate. The problem is when you're putting 3.5% down, you have to pay PMI, private mortgage insurance, and I thought maybe it would go away after year 80% or 80% or 20% vested. But apparently if you buy this particular FHA loan for an investment property, you pay PMI throughout the life of the loan. Not to mention, I think the funding fees might be a little bit higher. So that you got that going against you, but then you get the good rate. And also, if you do buy like a fourplex like I was planning on buying, of course you have to live in it for at least 1 year before you can rent it out to another person. So that was the plan. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, so I wanted to buy a regular condo, and I wound up buying it in Summerlin. So as you can see, this is a really nice area. This is the Summerlin area. This is one of the walkways through one of the parks. It's very pretty here. Some of the homes here are amazing. I'll show you later on in another video, but wow. Anyways, so I bought the condo here, offered, she was asking like 250, and then I countered with 246. She recountered with 248, and I was the second highest bidder. Turned out the other bidder wasn't even a real bidder. It's kind of bullshit, but anyways. So the HOA was $150 a month, which is not bad. We have a swimming pool and a exercise room, which is really nice. And I looked up, we made our bid on January 1. Earnest money was wired on January 5. I did not get the HOA, CCNRs, and all that stuff in the financials until January 15th. Part of the reason why it took so long was because the seller was having trouble getting the files off of her thumb drive or whatever. Anyways, so I looked at it. Fundamentals are okay. I knew that we were due for a HOA rate increase because the funds were going down every year, but they were still solid. It was like 85% funded still, which is really good. So I know a lot of HOAs, they're like 50% funded. So this one's pretty good, but I think the insurance rates went up. I think a couple of people, how do you say it? Their water heaters blew up. Two people's water heaters blew up and caused damage. So the insurance went up, and so they have to raise rates. So that's what happened there. And in addition to the $150 a month for HOA, they were charging me another $50 for the master plan. So I'm thinking, master plan, what's the master plan? I'm thinking maybe it's the floor plan, because my condo is pretty, it's a little bit fancy inside. It has, the master bathroom has its own little room. So I figured, oh, maybe that's why I'm paying extra $50 a month. No, it turns out, and this bothered me because I had asked my loan agent, Amber Coleman, if there was any special fees associated with Summerlin. I specifically asked her that question because my boss told me that there was, in fact, additional fee for living in Summerlin. She said, no additional fees. So it turns out this $50 a month fee was for living in Summerlin. I call it the Summerlin tax. So Summerlin is a master plan community. You get nice stuff like these little parks and little trails, and you get securities and whatnot. So yeah, so that's what I'm paying for, is $50 for the privilege to live in Summerlin. So it's okay. Hopefully, the numbers pan out, and this place doesn't wind up costing me an arm and a leg. One of the nice things about buying in Vegas is that even though my monthly payments are supposed to be a little over $1,100 a month or whatever for my condo. But then the previous seller was renting it out for $1,850, which means if I did that, I'd probably be cash flow positive. But right now, the way my place is, it needs some maintenance. It's been neglected for many years. But yeah, Amber Coleman, I found her on YouTube, and she's working with Lacey Cerrone, who's not taking new clients right now. I really wanted to work with her. And you know, Amber, she's knowledgeable, she's nice, but man, I think she's just super busy because she's like not very responsive. I mean, she responded to my text and whatnot, but I mean, when it came time to the closing day, man, she was like so slow, and my agents were getting frustrated with her. And throughout the process, my agents were kind of frustrated with her because she was slow to respond. And I didn't know whether it was because she was just too busy or maybe that's just the way she is. But man, if I could do it over again, I would not pick her. Yeah, I'll go with somebody else. What happened? Oh, so the day I'm supposed to wire the money, you know, the final payment, we're supposed to close on, well, we're supposed to close on Friday. I'm supposed to wire the money on Wednesday. So they're supposed to have the numbers for me Wednesday morning because I told them I'm going to wire the money that day, and they're supposed to have the numbers ready. Things are supposed to be balanced. Well, they weren't ready on that morning, and so I'm sitting here, I'm going to the bank, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to wire the money anyways because I had to take time. I was working that day, and you know, the way Wells Fargo is doing things right now, you have to make an appointment. You can't just show up and wire the money. So I had to make my appointment like way ahead of time. I drove like 15 minutes from work on my lunch hour just to wire this money. And I wound up sending an additional $4,300 just to make sure I wired enough. And I knew they were going to send me any extra money back, so it wasn't a big deal. And eventually, so I wired the money around 1:30, and so finally around 2:30, Amber sends me the balance of what I'm supposed to be wiring. So I'm like, man, that's kind of late there. I mean, they really had their, not to mention, you know, when I tried to buy the home insurance part, you know, she didn't really ask me that, and I wound up going with State Farm because State Farm will give me a 15% discount on my auto insurance if I couple the home with the auto insurance. So yeah, Amber kind of delegated the home insurance buying process to her assistant, Christy or Crystal, whatever it was, and she had no idea what she was doing. And she called the man at State Farm, and then I called the man at State Farm, and the man was like, what are you doing? You're not supposed to do it like this. It's like this instead. Back and forth. It took like 3 or 4 days of going back and forth. Jeff at State Farm, he's the manager, he wound up calling Amber to try to get things settled. Amber would not return his calls. It took him 3 days, I think, 3 business days before Amber finally called him back, and they finally got settled. But wow, that was really irritating. Anyways, so yeah, I finally got the home insurance thing settled, and yeah, I mean, you know, I guess every home buying process is has its own ups and downs, frustrations. My own agents, they were good. I liked Dana, but I didn't like her partner. I wasn't a big fan, so he's just way too emotional and just, yeah, kind of, I don't know. You know, there's a lot of house flippers here in the Valley, and I think, you know, a lot of people, when they think house flippers, they think crappy job, shortcuts, quick buck. But you know, the flippers that I've seen here, some of them are actually really good. And there's some real quality jobs out here. And I actually kind of appreciate what they're doing for we buyers, because they're buying the homes at really cheap rates. Sorry for the echo. They're buying at really cheap rates, and they're fixing the places up. And I guess these are contractors or people who are really knowledgeable. And I guess there's a limit. You can only like do $50,000 worth of improvements before you have to be like an official contractor or something. So I noticed most of these homes are about 50,000 additional, but man, some of these homes are gorgeous. They're drop dead gorgeous, and they're just like, wow. So thumbs up to some of these flippers. They're doing an amazing job. And yeah, I tried to buy one. The seller was kind of iffy, didn't even bother to get back to us. There was one really nice home that I put a bid on, and they didn't get back to us like until 2 days later, and turns out that they took somebody else's bid, didn't even tell us that there were other bids, and didn't even give us the opportunity to raise our bid. He just said, well, I already picked somebody else. And we're just like, okay. So really unprofessional. I don't know if that's normal here in Las Vegas. This is my first home purchase. So that's pretty much where I'm at right now. I've been living in my place now for 1 week. Loving it so far. Here's a swimming pool. I don't want to drone on too long, but I just want to share my experience. And yeah, I mean, maybe this will help somebody else. Yeah, if I have any other thoughts, you know, I'll share them later on, but that's going to be it for now. See ya.